Good morning and welcome back to News and Views. You're still watching the show that you love, that you entitled with so much, and we are at the back of it, back end of it, and we're going to be touching on something very, very important. Yesterday, the 12th of August, was International Youth Day, and in celebration of International Youth Day, not South Africa's June 16 Youth Day. No, the international one for the whole world. We'll be putting a spotlight on the brilliant transformative work of Islamic Relief South Africa when it comes to empowering vulnerable youth and young people in this country. And joining us is Galeema Moyce. She's a regional volunteer and events officer at IRSA, and she'll be helping us discuss how the organization is actively engaging young people through education, through vocational training, and leadership development. Galeema, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the show. Really appreciate you joining us and giving us your time this morning.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Jazakallah, and thank you for having me this morning.
Pleasure
It's
is
really
all ours. Yes. I want to kickstart the conversation with just a brief overview. If you can provide, for our listeners, how Islamic Relief South Africa's initiatives aimed at empowering youth, particularly in some of, the underprivileged and underserved communities here in South Africa.
That's correct. So, Alhamdulillah, so this year is International Youth Day, and this day focuses on youth empowerment, on youth sustainability, and youth innovation. So, Alhamdulillah, at Islamic Relief, this day is a reminder to recognize the diverse identities, the diverse backgrounds, and abilities of young people. It is the day that acknowledges the hurdles that young people face on the daily and that they overcome. And yet, it's also a day to celebrate the positive change makers of our society. So, Alhamdulillah, Islamic Relief work alongside our youth to empower present and then future leaders and change makers of today.
Mm, 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 mm. What does International Youth Day mean? To the Islamic relief teams working in conflict and climate impacted regions across the world.
Yes, so it is that the impact of conflict and displacement, the economic hardships that our youth that they are faced with. We have, Alhamdulillah, Islamic relief that advocate for increased psychosocial support, increase of safe spaces and community-based mental health services. We have challenges that our youth are faced with in education, where globally over 251 million children and youth are still out of school. In low income countries, we have 33% of school age children and youth that are out of school compared to 3% in high income countries. And that is more school that are out of children, that more children that are out of school than in school. So there are various factors to these challenges that we have globally. We have, girls and young women that face additional barriers, whether it is discrimination, limited access to education and leadership roles, or high risk of violence. So, to this, Islamic Relief calls on the community to, advocate for, like I said, more increased psychosocial support, safe spaces, and community-based mental health services.
And mental health, I know it's a very, very important one, particularly for young people and our generation. If you can, and I know Islamic Relief, works in these spaces and in some of these countries that are facing incredible challenges. If you can, just maybe paint a picture for us of what life is like for young people living in countries that are in conflict in particular.
That's correct. It's really sad to see when we're working alongside and in these conflict areas. Like for instance, in Sudan alone, we have young people's resilience that are tested on the daily, and around 15 million children. That's about half of the population in Sudan that are youth that are in need of humanitarian assistance. So to paint a picture, they are not living the everyday life that our youth are living. It's really sad to see. So it's over 70% of urban households in Sudan reported that of some school age children have stopped attending school just because of the ongoing conflict that's happening over there. And the stats for youth in Gaza alone are even more devastating, when over estimated 18,000 children are among the more than 61,000 people who have been killed since October 2023. So these are the situations that our youth are faced with. And so, what are we doing about it? What is it that we are showing our care and our humanitarian assistance? So, this is a call out to our communities that we are, opening our eyes, and that we are able to see that our humanitarian aid, that we should be able to, assist those that are in need in these global challenges and conflict areas. Yeah.
Mm, and that's very, very important to note and to mention. I want to ask you one last question before I let you go, and I think it's a very, very important one. If you could just briefly tell us about Islamic Relief's approach to supporting and empowering the youth that you work with here in South Africa and also across the world.
That's correct. So Islamic Relief supports children and families to access primary based education, literacy, and vocational training in order to break these cycles of poverty and, empower future generations. We also prioritize psychosocial support for youth. In Gaza, Alhamdulillah, we have reached more than 100,000 young people, for example. So we have various programs that focuses on youth leadership, on peace building, social cohesion. We have youth that trains in local dispute resolution and advocacy and entrepreneurship. Alhamdulillah, we empower them to become peace champions in their communities, in countries like Kenya, in Pakistan, and the Philippines, and locally as well. Alhamdulillah, Islamic Relief advocates for youth rights, for social justice, and the inclusion of youth voices in policy and in humanitarian response. We have our volunteers, alhamdulillah, nationally as well as internationally, that plays a pivotal role in the work that we do.
Hmm. We seem to have lost Halima there, but I think we were at the back end of our conversation, a very, very important one regarding some of the work that they do with young people. This is in the spirit of celebrating International Youth Day, which was yesterday. And yeah, I think they're doing some really, really wonderful work. If you want to, be part of it, you want to engage, you want to contribute to the work that Islamic Relief does, you can head up over to their website, which is www.islamicrelief-sa.com, or you can give them a call on 021 or you can head over to their various social media platforms. Just search at Islamic Relief South Africa. We have Halima back. Halima, we just lost you there for a moment. I think you were just wrapping up a thought about the work that you guys are doing with young people in some of these, areas where there's a lot of difficulty, there's conflict and uncertainty that is affecting a lot of young people.
If you could repeat the question, sorry, I've lost you there for a second.
No, I was just saying, if you can just before we lost you there, if you could just continue on that, the work that you guys are doing and how you guys are assisting young people that are in some of these, conflict zones and the zones that are affected by these humanitarian disasters.
Right. So Islamic Relief, Alhamdulillah, we work alongside our volunteers, and this is how we are able to, have this various and broad impact within our communities and within this conflict areas. So, like I was saying, we have various programs that focuses on youth leadership, on peace building, and social cohesion. Islamic Relief advocates for the youth rights, social justice, and the inclusion of youth voices within our policies and humanitarian response. So our experience, it shows that when given safe spaces, youth can lead community initiatives and promote social cohesion and challenge harmful stereotypes. So this is how, alhamdulillah, our volunteers and our youth, they are really, the change makers that we need within our society.
Hmm. Mm. And just lastly, those that want to, contribute, they want to be part of the work that you guys are doing. How do they get in touch with you guys? How do they get involved to support young people, the youth? We know in this country, in particular, youth unemployment, I think, is one of the key concerns. And you guys have initiatives that assist young people. How do they get hold of you guys to make sure that they also contribute to the cause of young people in South Africa and across the world?
Right, they can head over to our social media, visiting www.islamic-relief.org.za. Or you can head over to our Instagram page, Islamic Relief SA, where you can learn more about Islamic Relief, and you can also touch base and get involved, so that you are able to be the next generation of change makers. So yes, we'd love to work alongside you, and so please do reach out to us. And yeah, we'd love to see you working with us in future.
There you have it. Thank you so much, Jazakla Halima, for sharing these insightful perspectives. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much,
There you
Jazakallah khair for having me.
I mean, there you go. There's Halima for she's sharing, I think, important perspectives. The work that Islamic Relief South Africa is doing, their commitment to empowering the next generation, and I think it's clear we can all agree that through education, through community involvement, and dedicated support, Islamic Relief South Africa is making, I think, quite a significant difference in the lives of young people, particularly here in South Africa, where youth unemployment, I think, is very, very key and a very, very concerning, part when it comes to the discourse around young people. And yeah, for more information, as you heard there, you can head over to their website. I think I will put it up on our screen once again. It's www.islamic-relief.org.za, and you can be part of helping young people, young South Africans, young people from across the continent of Africa and across the globe where Islamic Relief South Africa operates, and contribute meaningfully to the future of this world and to the future of the country. We have come to the end of today's show. Thank you so much for staying with us. It's been another impactful, educational one. We'll be back with you again tomorrow for the Wednesday edition of the show. Otherwise, Inayat Wadi will be back with you for Wednesday evenings with Inayat Wadi. That's another brilliant show that you need to keep your eyes and ears glued to here on Salam Media. It's from 7 right until 9. And the topic today is a very, very important one: the continued targeting and killing of Palestinian journalists. I think it's getting out of hand. There's been more than 200 journalists that have been killed since October the 7th. And this is more than any other conflict that we've seen in recent memory. You might think of Afghanistan, you might think of Ukraine, you might think of Venezuela, Colombia. All of those combined, no other amount of journalists have been killed at this rate. And I think it's clear it's a targeting of the truth. It's a targeting of our eyes and ears in Gaza. And for us here at Salam Media, it's gotten a lot personal because most of these journalists is people that we know, is people that we interact with, it's people that we have on air, and people that give us those perspectives, those tragic, true and lived realities of the people of Gaza. And you talk to people. Palestinian journalists, you message them, and one day you just wake up, you hear about a blast, whether in Deir al Bala or in Gaza City, and you want to check on whether they're okay or they're not, and you try and WhatsApp them, you try to call them, and there's no response. A few days pass, you don't see their WhatsApp statuses anymore. They're no longer messaging you, giving you updates, and it gets personal, it gets sad, it makes you angry. And I think this conversation that Inayat Wadu will be having later on today touches on that, how this deliberate attack on journalists and media workers in Gaza ultimately might have the new reality be that the only source of information that is coming out of Gaza is that of the Israeli government's perspective. Because international media is no longer allowed in Gaza, as you know by now. So it's only Palestinians that are working as journalists, but they are being killed at a rate never seen before. So the agenda is clear: wipe out all journalists in Gaza, and the tentacles that are going to be um, making their way through are those of the Zionist pariah Israeli government, and they'll be spreading all kinds of propaganda. And they're already telling us that there's no genocide when it's clear. The whole world can see it in real time. It's live streamed. We can see it. We read about it every day. The numbers are coming out every day. And this thanks to journalists in Gaza at this moment who are under siege. So imagine if the only media, the only source of information in Gaza that is coming out is in the hands of the Israeli government. How dangerous, how dangerous would that state of events be? So don't miss that show from 7 until 9. We'll be focusing on the killing of journalists and media practitioners in Gaza. And he has a really, really wonderful panel. We'll be releasing all of the information about the people that he'll be having on that panel. It's really, really wonderful people here in South Africa and also abroad. Some are working with Al Jazeera, others are working with some of the biggest media houses in and around the world. And it'll be a really interesting and insightful conversation. Otherwise, from myself, Salalo Makudir, I'll be back with you again tomorrow for the Wednesday edition of the show. Well, for the Thursday edition of the show. How quickly time passes by. But we're going to leave it here for now. Shap, shap, and goodbye.